money in the duffel bag.
1,400,000 degrees, now I'm out of here. Pour 4 or 5 of the, now I'm out of here. Yeah, just pop me a, now I'm out of here. Put a bad this Celine, now she out of here. Pocket stuffed up, evergreen, boy, we out of here. If she ain't for the whole team, get her out of here. I won't hotel, G for real. Got the streets on live, I can never fail.
WUMS, University, Oxford.
Welcome to the other side. This is Mike Kistler with my weekly show, Take Me to the Other Side, an exploration into underground music, local or whatever else, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Central Time. Thank you all for tuning in. So this week is really special because, as we all know, it's Halloween this Friday, tomorrow. And to celebrate, I have a little bit of a Halloween show to get together for you. The first song on the program today is a band from Australia who moved to England and then moved to Germany, so all over the place. But they spawned a bunch of other bands that all were not as successful. Well, one was. This band is the original band before Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, which is what it morphed into, a very popular band in Europe and America. And then also spawned the solo careers of other people, such as Roland S. Howard, who I've played on the show a couple times. This is a band called The Birthday Party, and it's a track called Release the Bats.
Baby, it's alright.
and that was Release the Bats by Australian band The Birthday Party. If you're just now tuning in, this is Take Me to the Other Side with DJ Mike, and we're celebrating Halloween a day early on my show. The next track I have for you guys is another European band. This is from the UK, 1989-90, I believe, and this is a B-side off of a single they released called The Room at the Top of the Stairs by one of my favorite bands, the Television Personalities, Room at the Top of the Stairs.
Etched on her face. Now she sits alone in an old rocking chair. Nobody cares in a room at the top of the stairs. Jars where she keeps the babies that God wouldn't spare. A secret they share, nobody knows that they're there. Like the visits from daughters who no longer care. She sits in her old rocking chair. Etched on her face. Now she sits alone in an old rocking chair. Nobody cares in a room at the top of the stairs. And her ghost will return. And her ghost will return. And her ghost will return.
And that was Room at the Top of the Stairs by Television Personalities, one of my favorite bands of all time. That track technically came out in July, but I don't know, to me that was, it just, to me sounds like such a great Halloween song. It's so just kind of out there a little bit, and the creepy little keyboards, I don't know, it's just perfect for me, for that, getting the Halloween spirit. The next track I have for you guys is another kind of a, I wouldn't say grungy, but a very raw and thrashy band, kind of like The Birthday Party, but they're from America. And really, they kind of helped popularize the punk scene in the South a little bit. They were a big proponent of that. Even though they're from New York, them and the Panther Burns are two very prominent bands that kind of allowed rockabilly and punk to kind of conjoin. But this is the Cramps with a track called I Was a Teenage Werewolf. That was I Was a Teenage Werewolf by The Cramps. I really like that record a lot. I believe their first ever album was actually recorded in Memphis, Tennessee. Alex Chilton of Big Star actually, I think, coerced them into coming to Easley McCain Studio. And they did their first record, which is called Songs the Lord Taught Us, which is another great record. Probably going to play some stuff over that next week. But the next track I have for you guys is a really amusing band with an amusing name, Oingo Boingo, and this is their track, Dead Man's Party.
I'm all dressed up with nowhere to go, walking with a dead man over my shoulder. I'm all dressed up with nowhere to go, walking with a dead man over my shoulder.
Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo, a band from California. All right, and now we're going to have a quick word from our sponsors.
The Daily Mississippian distributes thousands of its papers across the Ole Miss campus, Oxford, and beyond. The DM newsletter reaches over 27,000 subscribers each and every week. The website, easily over 1 million impressions regularly. If you want Ole Miss and Oxford to know about your business, advertise in the Daily Mississippian. Call 662-259-6081 to ask about our print, online, and newsletter advertising packages. That's 662-259-6081. Or email dmads@olemiss.edu.
All right, and this is, for anyone tuning in, this is DJ Mike with Take Me to the Other Side, a weekly show showcasing underground music, and this is our Halloween special. The next track is a song that's actually really dear to my heart from one of my favorite records from this artist. I don't think I can say it live over the air what the title is, but it's from 1982, and it's by The Cure. This is a song called Cold. That I remember I saw The Cure in New Orleans in 2023, and I remember fanboying so hard when the opening synth notes of that started playing. That's like such a spooky song to me, and I think it's perfect for Halloween season. Cold by The Cure. The next track is another post-punk band, peers of The Cure, called Joy Division, and this is a track from their debut record called Wilderness. Joy Division with Wilderness. I always like that track. It's very ominous. The sweeping bass line and the ghostly, echoey guitar. That whole record, honestly, is pretty spooky. All things considered. Unknown Pleasures, released in 1979. It's a great record. I've seen a couple copies, not original, obviously, but sometimes you'll see them at record shops. I think I've seen that in their second record. They only have 2 official albums out, but I think I've seen a copy of each at Involve Music in Oxford. I've mostly seen them, though, in record shops in Memphis, but that's to be expected. It's a bigger town. They have a bit more imports, I suppose. Unfortunately, in 1980, in May of 1980, Ian Curtis, the lead singer of that band, tragically passed away. And so the remaining 3 members of the band formed a new band called New Order, who, unlike Joy Division, experienced success in America. This is before they experienced success, though. This is from their first record called Movement. I was actually able to score an original U.S. copy of this at Greatest Hits, a multimedia store in Tupelo, Mississippi. So go check them out. Sometimes they'll have some stuff that will surprise you. But this is a track from their first album called Movement, New Order, with the song Truth.
cloud in my head. From the growing sun to the lights that I set. Oh, it's a strange day. Such a lonely way. Some people look down on me. I know they like what they see.
That was Truth by New Order. Yeah, very ominous track. That Movement itself is also a very ominous record. I suppose that makes sense when you come off of being in a Joy Division with a lead singer who passed away. But yeah, I think it's a great record. It's underappreciated, and I don't think people give it the credit that it's due. People just skip to the second New Order record and say a new order begins here. And I don't agree with that. But anyway, so now it's time of the program to listen to some announcements that they have given me. So here are some announcements.
Tune in to Speak Up, Speak Out every Friday at 2 p.m. with Brianna.
All right, that was the announcements. So the next track I have for you guys, I've played it on the show before, but I couldn't pass up an opportunity to play it again. I think that this is a really, I don't know, I think it's a playful track, but I think that it kind of, to me, captures Halloween a little bit. As much as Joy Division and New Order, their records, I think, are spooky and Halloweeny. There's a record by this band, this is Sonic Youth, and the record that this comes off of is called Bad Moon Rising. And if anyone's following the Instagram page, which is Take Me to the Other Side 92.1, all one word is the username. I used the cover image pretty liberally for some promotional work for this specific show. I think it's a great image. It's a scarecrow lit on fire in front of New York City, and I think that kind of sums up that record specifically. There's even a track on there called Halloween, which did not make it into the program. But this track is called Death Valley 69, and it features Lydia Lunch, Death Valley 69 by Sonic Youth. say again, that's what happens when a band from the East Coast, specifically New York, makes surf music. But I quite like it. I thought that I think that whole record is really good. I was able to score an original of that for like $40 on eBay. It's from 1985, Sonic Youth, Death Valley 69 off of their album Bad Moon Rising, which is a reference to the CCR song of the same name. They, I guess, thought that'd be humorous. We've had kind of a gothic kind of trend going on in the show, but I guess that aptly fits Halloween. But this next track is really cool because it's actually called Halloween, and it's by Susie and the Banshees. It's the Susie and the Banshees of Halloween. We're coming up on the end of the show, actually. Kind of sped through that one. But I would also, real quick, like to just say, if anyone out there is listening, I've said this the past few shows, but just want to keep getting the word out there. I've talked to a few local bands, luckily, about playing some music on the show. But if anyone who's a musician or in a band or knows somebody who is one of those things, has any music, please feel free to send it to me. You can go to the Instagram page and email me from there, or send a direct message. It's Take Me to the Other Side, 92.1, all one word. And yeah, just on Instagram, just send me or just find me on Facebook or whatever. I don't care, Mike Kistler. And just send me whatever your band has. And I'd like to, because I feel like I want to have more local music on the show. But I always end up just kind of defaulting to my friends' bands, and I don't want it to be seen as like cliquey or anything. I want to play a wider variety of things. But anyway, yeah, that was Halloween by Susie and the Banshees. Fun fact, I don't know if many of you know this, but the lead singer of The Cure, Robert Smith, actually played guitar for Susie and the Banshees on 2 different occasions. The first time filling in for a guitar player who suddenly quit in 1979, The Cure's first ever UK tour. They were opening for Susie and the Banshees, and he had to fill in. And then the second time as a fully integrated member from 1982 until 1984. Going back, this is actually a little bit of history for you. The last Cure song I played on the show, Cold, earlier in the show, was after the tour supporting that album that came off of, The Cure imploded a little bit. So Robert Smith took leave and joined Susie and the Banshees until The Cure returned to the mainstream. So that's a little history lesson for you, little goth subculture history. But anyway, so this is the last track for the day. This is called Attack of the Ghost Riders by a Danish band called the Ravenettes. Attack of the Ghost Riders.
Lipstick on my face, thunder in the sky. The shades are drawn. Don't ask me why, but with the ghost riders on the go, I think you know. But with the ghost riders on the go, I think you know. It goes something like this. Something like this.
And that's all I have for this week. Thank you all for tuning in and listening. And please make sure to tune back in next week. I'll see you on the other side, and you have a great rest of your day. This is DJ Mike with Take Me to the Other Side. Thank you.